Hi everyone, welcome to Javatechie. In our previous tutorial on gRPC, we explored server streaming communication where the client send a single request like give me update for stock symbol and then the server respond with continuous stream of data, right? So today we are taking things one step further by diving into another exciting gRPC communication pattern, that is client streaming. So imagine you want to design an application where your server will give you a response once it processes all the incoming requests. In such cases, client streaming is your best choice. In client streaming pattern, the client send a stream of stock symbol, then the server listen to the stream, process all the inputs, and finally respond with a summary result after it receive everything. Okay, so let me show you one real-time example. So to demonstrate client streaming, I have created this simple application. Now if you observe here, I have option to order bulk of stock, or I have option to subscribe to multiple stock. Now this is the form where I can add multiple stock, then I will submit the order. Okay. Now what we want to validate here, this is my client page, you can consider it. From the client I will send multiple requests and we need to check whether we are getting response for individual request or we are getting the response at last, okay, after process everything. Now let me add some order ID, let's say 2000 or 200, let it be quantity 2, which will nothing 4000. Then I will add another order, let's say again this is 1000, I need 1. Now what is the total amount? 2000 into 2, 4000, 1000 into 1000, 5000. Okay. So you can add n number of order. Now let me send the request. Okay. Currently no orders summary yet. Now just click on submit. Can you see here? Did I get the response for individual request, individual order? No. I got the response for after complete both the order what I submit. See the response, order summary, total order is 2, successful order count 2, and what is the total amount? 5000. This application I have designed using the client streaming. We'll try to replicate same. Okay, sounds interesting, isn't it? So well, let's modify our existing gRPC server and client code to implement this client streaming pattern and we'll see it in action. Okay, alright. So without any further delay, let's get started. So this is what the gRPC server application, and similarly we have the client application, right? Now let's start modifying from the server code. As you know, this proto is nothing the contract between server and client. To demonstrate client streaming, let me define one separate method for this scenario. Okay, bulk stock order. Now go to the proto file. Now let me define a method RPC bulk stock order. Now what is the request I need to give? If you remember this one, what is the request? We are giving list of or stream of order object or stock order object, right? So I will define stream of, I'll create a separate message class like the way we have defined. This is nothing the DTO, right? The way we have defined message stock request stock response. So I'll create a separate DTO. You can imagine it as a DTO, but in gRPC term we'll create a message. Okay, so I'll give the name something like stock order. Then what you are expecting as a return type? I'm expecting as a return type order summary. Okay, that also another DTO or message will create. Fine, this line is crying because this message is not found. So let's create a message. Now similarly create the message for order summary. Okay, so there is no compilation error. Better let me add a note. So next, let's define some attribute for this stock order and order summary. So what will be the field of stock order? Nothing, order ID, stock symbol, order type, price and quantity. So let me quickly define this attribute. This could be buy or sell. Fine. Similarly, let me define the attribute for order summary. This is nothing. Total number of order, total amount and what is the success count. So if you observe, this is nothing your stream of request to the server, and this is nothing single response from server, multiple request from client, single response from server. Okay, that is what the RPC method we have defined. Now let's build our project so that these classes will be generated in target folder. Then we will reuse them in our service class. Let me do the mbn clean install. So you can see here build is succeeded. Now let's check these classes. Go to the target. Can you see the classes? Order summary and what else? Stock order. Okay, so we have these classes already generated. Now let's go to our service class. Let's override the method. Remove this. Now if you observe, what is the response? Order summary. What is the request? Stock order. Okay, stream observer, stock order. Now what we'll do? First, let's build this response observer. Fine. So you already know about these three methods, right? On next, on error and on completed. Now what this response observer will do? If we'll check this order summary, these are the value. It will just populate those value to give the final result. Now if you observe here, this is the onNext method. Every request coming from client, this onNext method will execute. It means you just need to map these value results, this total order, total amount, success count, all these things you need to populate in this onNext method. For every request, this method will call. So first let me define those fields: total orders, total amount, success count. Okay, so here nothing to do. This is just a total order. So every time this method will execute, just do the total order, just increase it one by one. Fine. Similarly, total amount is nothing, total amount plus the order, right? Stock order, price into quantity. Next, success count. Assume all are success, just increase it. That's fine. For every request, we are just resetting the value so that you can generate the final report. So I will just add a sysout statement. I will define something received this order. When this method will execute, next on error, right? When this method will execute, when there will be any failure. So nothing to do, just just capture some messages. So define something like server unable to process the request, and this is what the message. Fine. Now the last method, onComplete. When this will execute, when everything is completed, then this onComplete will give the acknowledge to the client, hey, I'm done. This is where you need to build your order summary response. What you understand? Client streaming. Client will send multiple requests. Server will give you a single response after complete everything. That is the reason this is the key method in client streaming, where exactly you will build the final result for client. Okay. So now here you just need to build the order summary. So to build the order summary, all the value already we are populating in on next, because every request this method will execute. Okay, this is a simple step. If you know what is the role of on next, on error, on completed, then you no need to worry about it. You already in the same page. Okay, now let's quickly build the order summary. Set total order. You can get it already, right? We already defined the local variable. So just map that value. Set total success count. What else? Amount, right? We are done. Now once you build this order summary, let me capture this attribute. You need to give this summary as a response to whom? Client. How can you send something from your server to the client? You can define response observer dot on next. This is the result. Fine. Again share the acknowledgement saying that server code execution is done. Fine. So from client you will get n number of requests or stream of requests. We are evaluating each and every field. We are populating them correctly. Then at the end we are sending the, once everything is completed, this onComplete method will execute. There we are building the order summary. Once we build the summary result, we are sending it back to the request user or client. Hey, this is what the summary. I'm done from my end. Okay, this is the simple thing. All good. We are good in the server code. Now let's test it out. Then we'll start writing our client code. So let me restart the application. So if you observe, it started on port 9090. Now how can we test it? How can I send multiple stream of requests to the server? Because this is the client streaming, right? Client needs to send stream of request. Then only I can validate this client streaming, which you cannot do in Postman. Okay, Postman does not support client streaming. So for that, you can use the gRPC utility or gRPC URL command line interface. That is a simple library or simple plugin you can directly install in Mac or Windows. Okay, I'll share the step how you can install that. Since already I installed it, I'll quickly test that. Now to send list of or stream of request, what I did, I have created a order.txt file where I have 10 to 20 order object, okay, which will give as input to the server or which will give as input to this application, and we'll see whether we are giving the response for each request or at the end we are getting the consolidate order summary. Let me clear everything. Okay, so when you will add the request or when you will send the request for each and every object, this on next will call. That is what something I also want to validate. Okay, so let's check the order txt. If you observe, I have near to 22 order object, some random JSON. Okay, now what we'll do, go to the terminal and I'll execute the gRPC URL. So the gRPC call, this is the command. I misspelled as a URL, but yeah, gRPC call. Now see this is very straightforward, right? gRPC call, this is the plain text and I am giving my proto file, location of my proto file. Next, my application is running on port 9090. and I want to execute bulk stock order. That is what my RPC method with this particular input order.txt. Now let me quickly send the request. Can you see here? Did you get the response for each request on that file? For each order object, order JSON object from the file? No, right? You get the response after complete all the 22 order. Success count is 22 and this is what the price. Now if you'll check in your console, see here 21, 22, each request you received begin from the 1, and this is what the execution in on next. Correct? Received order is this and we are printing the order object in proto format. Okay, that is what something the beauty of client streaming. You send n number of requests, I will complete everything, then I will give you one single response. Now we are good from the server side code. Let's start writing our client code. For that, what I'll do, I'll just copy the same proto file, go to the client code, I'll replace it. We have this method, right? Now let me regenerate the classes. I'll run the ambient clean install. So you can see here build is succeeded. Now let's validate in the target folder whether those classes are generated or not. We can see this class order summary stock order. Now let's go to our client class stock client service. You know how to access the server code, right? You have the stop object. Using that you can access any RPC method defined in your server class or server code. So already we did for subscribe stock price and get stock price. Similarly, let me define another method, public void place bulk order, something like that. Now what I'll use? I'll use the stop. What is the stop name? Stock trading service stop dot check your method is available or not. Can you see here? Bulk stock order. Now what it is expecting as a return type, the input response observer. That is what the return type from the server. Correct? So first let's build that, but because already you will get it from the server code. So for that what I'll do, I'll simply use stream observer. This is my response. So can you see the syntax? This is what nothing my response. So what you'll get in on next? Nothing, whatever will return from your server code. So I'll just write couple of sys out to capture each and every field. Let me add it. Nothing, whatever response I am getting, I am just adding a sys out. Fine. Now what you will get if there is any error? Print that message, whatever you are getting. So order summary received. Now what it does in uncompleted? Nothing, it's just the response. Print something. Order summary or stream completed, something like that. So we just capture the order summary, which is nothing, the response we will receive from the server code. Just map it, just pass it, then define the local variable, give something stock order request or something like that. Fine. Or just make it simple, request observer. So now what you understand? Using stop, we gave the response. When I'm saying we gave the response, this is what you will get from the server code, and this is what the input you need to pass. From client, you need to give stream of request, right? So that is the reason you can see here stream observer stock order. So build a stream of stock order and then call this particular stop. Now let's build multiple requests. just add a comment, send multiple stock order, message or request, whatever you can say, multiple stream of. Okay, I'll keep in a try catch. Now in this try, what you can do, you have this request observer, right? You can call, hey, request observer dot on next. I am sending, not on complete, on next. In request observer, I am sending the next message. What is the message you want to send? Build some dummy stock order object. Okay, so something like you can do stock order dot new builder dot build, and then set each and every field. Set id 1. Like this, you prepare few object and pass it to the on next. So I already prepared 2 or 3 object. Let me directly copy paste. So nothing to wonder here. We have just created multiple request object to send to the server. That is what client streaming. Send multiple request. I am sending here. This is one request. This is one request, and this is one request. Now I am sending 3 requests. We need to validate from server whether we are getting 1 response or 3 response. Already we validated, but just we can validate from the client code. Okay, so just do one thing here, just acknowledge saying that from the request observer I am done with sending all the requests. Just add a comment, done sending orders. If there is any error, request observer dot on error, what is that, ex. All good. So we have defined this particular method. Now to test it directly from the client without using UI, we can simply copy this method, go to the main class. We already have the command line runner. Just call that method. I will comment it. Stock client service dot place, or what is that, place bulk orders. Now if I will call this, from this method we are sending 3 different requests. You can consider as a stream of 3 requests, and then we'll get this as a response. Okay, let's run our client application. Can you see here? When you run the client application, it gives you the order summary response, what you are capturing in your code while consuming it. Okay, this statement. This one, order summary received from server, then total order count is 3, successful order is 3, dollar symbol with this is the price, and at the end you are getting the acknowledgement, stream completed, server is done sending summary. No more messages from the server. Now if you go to the server code, server console, these are the 3 recently we sent, right? Yeah, we ended at 22. Then these are the 3 recent requests, 1, 2 and 3. Client send these 3 requests, 1, 2, 3. But what server return? Single response. That is what all about client streaming. Now whatever we have performed on this UI, I just capture this client messages, okay, these response to a separate DTO and define that in a controller class and map into the HTML page. That is what something I make it realistic to give you the clear picture about how client streaming work. I'm not going to do again the integration of front end in this particular code, but if you guys want, I have that code ready with me. I will share in the same repo. Okay, I'll share the GitHub link. you can download and reuse the same code. So this is what all about client streaming. So give a try and let me know in a comment section. I hope you are enjoying the gRPC series. I know I have not been able to upload gRPC content as frequently as I would like. It's taking a bit of time. But if you are enjoying this series, do let me know and I will definitely increase the frequency. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep coding, keep exploring.